You have never bought a Stellantis. Nobody has. It is the company that owns Jeep, Ram, Dodge, and Chrysler, and its name appears on 0 of those vehicles. That was not an accident. That was the whole point. Because when a company nobody knows destroys the brands everybody loves, nobody knows who to blame. Here is what happened. A strategy called Dare Forward 2030 posted 3 consecutive years of record profits while hollowing out every American brand underneath them. The people who built the trucks got layoff notices. The family that owned the company got dividends. And the CEO who designed the whole thing got $39.5 million in the year it all fell apart. Nobody saw the pill coming. Because for 3 years, it tasted like money. Detroit Assembly Complex. August 2024. Stellantis kills the Ram 1500 Classic, the affordable, no-nonsense truck that working Americans actually bought. Not a struggling model, not a slow seller, gone. Replaced by nothing in that price range. 2,450 workers in Michigan find out their shift is the last one. The lot still has trucks on it. Too many. Too expensive. The sales manager has started parking the overflow in the back rows so customers walking in do not see how deep it goes. January 16, 2021. Fiat Chrysler merges with PSA Group. The new entity is called Stellantis. 14 brands. 3 continents. 0 cars with that name on the hood. 2 men control everything from day one. Carlos Tavares runs the company. John Elkann controls the votes. Tavares built his career squeezing European brands back to profitability through margin discipline. Elkann is the Agnelli family heir who owns Stellantis through Exor, a holding company with enough loyalty voting rights to make him effectively unremovable. One made the decisions. The other never stopped them. Remember those 2 names. Everything else follows from them. Over the next 4 years, Chrysler would end up with 1 vehicle. Jeep would lose buyers for 5 consecutive years. Ram would lose the truck that built its reputation. All of it was signed off on. Dare Forward 2030 had one thesis: margin over everything. Cut rebates, raise prices, kill the models that don't make enough money. And for a while, the numbers were extraordinary. In 2022, Stellantis hit 13% adjusted operating margin, Ferrari territory for a company selling Ram pickups to contractors in Michigan. Net profit, 16.8 billion euros. In 2023, 18.6 billion euros, a new record. The stock climbed to $25.27 in March 2024, a market cap above $75 billion at its peak. Analysts called it lean, disciplined, best in class. Wall Street had not seen a turnaround this clean since Chrysler came back from bankruptcy. In other words, everyone was very impressed. Nobody looked under the hood, but something wasn't adding up. The company wasn't in the car business anymore. It was in the cash extraction business. In 2023 alone, Stellantis returned 6.6 billion euros to shareholders, dividends and buybacks, a 53% jump from 2022. Tavares received a 56% personal pay raise. $39.5 million, the highest automotive CEO compensation in the world. The board approved it 70-30. 2 major proxy advisory firms said vote against it. 70% of shareholders said fine. Exor collected its share. The Agnelli family had a very good year. The pill was already in the system. The quarterly reports just made it look like vitamins. And here is what they left behind. No new Jeep. No entry-level Ram. No product for the buyer who is going to walk into a dealership at 28 and stay loyal for 30 years. The quarterly reports looked immaculate. Underneath them, the pipeline was empty. September 10th, 2024. The Stellantis National Dealer Council sends a letter directly to Tavares. Not a concern. Not a request. A verdict. For over 2 years now, the U.S. Stellantis National Dealer Council has been sounding this alarm to your U.S. executive team, warning them that the course you had set for Stellantis was going to be a disaster in the long run. A disaster not just for us, but for everyone involved. And now that disaster has arrived. 2 years of written warnings ignored. Tavares' response was to accept a 56% pay raise and call it a year. U.S. market share had collapsed from 13% to under 10%. Third quarter sales down 19.8% year over year. Jeep and Ram inventory rotting on lots at twice the industry average. And then the number that stops you cold. Hyundai outsold Stellantis in America for the first time in history. Not Toyota. Not GM Hyundai. Tavares went on camera in June and called it arrogant mistakes. His words said a task force should have been assembled immediately. It was not. He still got his $39.5 million. 6 weeks later, the company issued a profit warning that erased billions overnight. The second dose had been swallowed. The patient just didn't know it yet. Here is the question nobody asked. Who was actually getting paid? Not the dealers, not the workers, not the customers who couldn't afford the trucks anymore. Walk into a Dodge dealership in 2024. The Durango RT on the lot stickers for $20,000, more than it did in 2011. Almost no deals to offset it. The salesman knows. The customer knows. The customer leaves. Cox Automotive reported Jeep and Ram inventory at more than twice the industry standard by mid-2024. And still, the strategy did not change. The answer was simple. Because the strategy was never about selling trucks. It was about protecting margins long enough to keep the dividend flowing. Fewer trucks sold at higher prices kept the quarterly report clean. The cash kept moving to Amsterdam. The brands kept dying. But it gets worse. Under Dare Forward 2030, Stellantis killed every affordable entry point that had pulled younger buyers into its brands for decades. The Ram 1500 Classic, gone. The Dodge Dart, gone. The Chrysler 200, gone. And then came the decision that broke something that had survived 100 years. Chrysler invented the American minivan. It survived the Great Depression. It survived bankruptcy. In 2024, it survived as exactly one vehicle. 1. The Pacifica minivan, a brand with 100 years of American identity. One minivan. The dealers had been warning about this in writing for 2 years. Nobody responded with a product. They responded with a profit warning. Here is the thing that made all of it possible. Elkann controls the votes. He didn't need most of the company to do it. Through Stellantis' own rules, his family could outvote almost anyone without owning most of the company. As chairman, every dollar that moved, every target, every dividend, every pay package needed his board's approval. He approved them all. Exor's share of that 6.6 billion euro payout in 2023 alone, roughly 1 billion euros. 1 year, one family, 1 billion euros, while the brands ran out of road. And when the losses became impossible to hide, the board needed someone to take the fall. Tavares resigned December 2nd, 2024. Elkann called a press conference to announce the CEO search. He did not resign. He is still chairman. He still controls the votes. 3 weeks. That's all it took. Stellantis reversed the Toledo layoffs. Same 1,100 jobs. Same plant. Completely opposite decision. The moment the man who made it was gone. That reversal tells you everything about whether those layoffs were necessary. The stock that peaked above $75 billion now trades at roughly $17 billion. In February 2026, Stellantis reported a net loss of 22.3 billion euros for full year 2025, the second largest annual loss in French corporate history. No dividend. Dare Forward 2030 has been quietly buried. Nobody at Stellantis uses that name. New CEO Antonio Filosa is promising profitability. Incentives are back. John Elkann is overseeing the recovery of the company he broke. A poison pill is something a company swallows to protect itself from predators. It hurts by design. What Dare Forward 2030 did was identical, except the predator was already inside. By the time customers noticed, the cash was already gone. Jeep lost 5 consecutive years of US sales while the dividends kept flowing. The worker in Toledo got a layoff notice, then a reversal 3 weeks later that proved it was optional all along. The Agnellis got their dividends, they still have their votes, and the man who approved every decision is now searching for someone to fix it. The poison didn't kill Stellantis overnight. It killed the reason people loved its brands in the first place. That is not a business failure. That is the product.